On this Thursday, October 30th, 2025, the American people witnessed a moment that many believe is a watershed moment, not just in modern politics, but in the destiny of the world. What happened last night was not just an announcement. It was the redefinition of American sovereignty in real time. President Donald J. Trump, in an act of clarity and strength that has shaken the foundations of Washington, has made a decision that could completely change the history of the United States as we know it. The globalist elites, the swamp bureaucrats, and the warmongers who profit from American weakness are, at this very moment, in a total panic. They never saw this coming. They thought they could continue their decades-long, complacent slumber while our adversaries grew stronger. They were wrong. Today, America signaled to the world that the sleeping giant is not just awake. It is reclaiming its rightful place as the greatest force for peace and stability the world has ever known. And it will do so through the only language its enemies understand. Absolute, undeniable strength. The announcement came like a thunderclap, straight from the source on the Truth Social platform, bypassing the gatekeepers of the corrupt media who have filtered the truth for so long. The president went directly to the people. I have instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. This is not bureaucratic language. It is not a vague memo. It is a command. The order is clear. That process will begin immediately. America will no longer ask for permission to defend itself. The era of apology, of strategic weakness, and of putting America last is officially over. Trump is not just responding to the moves of our adversaries. He is rewriting the rules of the game. He is forcing the world to readjust to the reality of American strength. A reality the Washington establishment has tried desperately to hide and suppress for over 30 years. The truth has finally come to light, and it has the power of a ballistic missile. The president made it clear this was not a decision taken lightly. He expressed his moral anguish, writing in all caps, "I hated to do it." This is the mark of a true leader, not a warmonger. A man who understands the tremendous destructive power that his own uncle, the MIT professor John Trump, taught him about. But he was forced. He had no choice. While the weak and corrupt leaders of the past 3 decades allowed America to atrophy, our enemies did not sleep. This decision is not about starting a war. It is about preventing one. It is the heavy burden of a patriot who sees the storm gathering on the horizon and refuses to leave his nation unprotected. The left will never understand this, as they mistake hesitation for morality and strength for provocation. For Trump, the highest morality is the safety of the American people. Let's be clear about why this is necessary. The president was explicit. Because of other countries testing programs. He named the culprits. Russia, in second place, bragging about its invincible missiles and Poseidon torpedoes capable of creating radioactive tsunamis. And China, a distant third, but one that, according to Trump's intelligence, will be even within 5 years. China, which conducts secret low-grade tests while smiling at our diplomats. The Washington establishment, in its infinite foolishness, watched all of this happen. They held summits, signed worthless pieces of paper, and held cocktail parties in Vienna, while Beijing and Moscow rewrote the balance of power. Trump is the first leader in a generation to look this threat in the face and refuse to blink. He sees reality, not the fantasy that globalist think tanks sell. Remember, it was during his first term that Donald J. Trump accomplished the complete update and renovation of the existing arsenal. He kept his promise. He made the American arsenal safer, more reliable, and more potent than ever. The swamp generals and the Pentagon bureaucrats fought him every step of the way. They said it wasn't necessary. They said it was too expensive. But he did it anyway. He ensured that the United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country. And now, he is taking the next logical step. He isn't just maintaining the weapons. He is ensuring they work. He is ensuring our adversaries know they work. This is the second act of the great American rebuilding, and it is happening right before the world's eyes. Look at the language he used. He did not say the Department of Defense. He used the original, powerful, and terribly honest term, the Department of War. This is not a slip-up. It is a message. Defense is passive. War acknowledges the nature of the world we live in. It recognizes that there are enemies, that evil is real, and that the only way to protect civilization is to have the uncontestable ability to annihilate those who seek to destroy it. Trump is signaling an end to the era of bureaucratic complacency and a return to a strategic seriousness this country has not seen in generations. The days of conflict management and containment policy are over. The new doctrine is simple. America wins. Period. And as soon as the truth was spoken, as soon as the president spoke directly to the people, the rats started coming out of the woodwork. The establishment wasted no time. A Washington bureaucrat, a certain Daryl Kimball, from the self-styled Arms Control Association, the very name sounds like a euphemism for managed surrender, rushed to social media to attack the commander-in-chief. He called President Trump misinformed and out of touch. Think of the audacity. An anonymous bureaucrat, whose entire job depends on American weakness and useless treaties our enemies ignore, dares to question the man the people elected to protect the nation. Kimball and his ilk are not worried about peace. They are terrified of American strength. They would rather us be hand-tied, vulnerable, while Russia and China redraw the world map. This bureaucrat's panic exposes the entire Washington charade. He whined that it would take at least 36 months to resume contained nuclear tests. At the former test site in Nevada, do you see? This is how the swamp works. To them, everything is an obstacle. Everything is red tape. Everything is a committee. President Trump's order was immediately. He didn't ask for a feasibility study. He didn't ask for a task force. He gave an order. This 36-month claim is the delay tactic of a system that hates decisive action. They want to trap Trump in process and paperwork, hoping he gives up. But they aren't dealing with an ordinary politician. They are dealing with the man who built skyscrapers. He understands timelines, and he understands how to smash bureaucracy. The process will begin now, and hell will come for anyone who stands in the way. Kimball then reveals his true loyalties. He isn't worried about American safety. He's worried about what our allies will think. He's worried about blowing apart the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, a treaty that North Korea, Iran, China, and Russia have made into a joke. The establishment cares more about the opinions of bureaucrats in Brussels than about the survival of America. They fear this will trigger a chain reaction, but the chain reaction already happened. It happened while America slept. Trump isn't starting an arms race. He is simply announcing that America is finally going to start running. He is refusing to lose on purpose, which has been the default foreign policy of establishment Democrats and Republicans for 33 years. Think about that number. 33 years. Since 1992, the United States has not tested a nuclear weapon. A voluntary moratorium that we faithfully observed while our enemies cheated in the shadows. 3 decades of strategic sleep. 3 decades where we pretended history had ended and military power no longer mattered. Our adversaries used that time wisely. They studied our weaknesses. They built their forces. They waited for our complacency to become permanent. Trump's decision today is a thundering repudiation of those 3 decades of weakness. It is a return to the Ronald Reagan doctrine of peace through strength. The system did not expect this turn. They thought the moratorium was forever. They underestimated the will of the American people. This announcement does not happen in a vacuum. The timing is everything. President Trump made this declaration on the eve of his high-stakes meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea. This is not a coincidence. It is strategy. It is real power diplomacy. While past presidents have walked into these meetings with their hats in their hands, begging for trade favors and lecturing about human rights, Trump walks in as the leader of the most powerful nation on earth, having just put the highest card on the table. He didn't even answer a shouted question from a reporter about the tests. His silence was the answer. The message to Xi is clear. We are not playing games anymore. The game has changed. Deal with it. The global balance of power was reset before the 2 leaders even shook hands. The mainstream media, of course, is in a total meltdown. They are using Kimball's words as if they are gospel. They are painting this as the act of a madman, a man who will blow up the world. They are predictable and irrelevant. They are the same ones who said his North Korea policy would lead to war. It led to peace. The same ones who said moving the embassy to Jerusalem would light the Middle East on fire. It led to the Abraham Accords. They have lied about everything. And they are lying now. The American people no longer trust these propagandists. Patriots understand that what happened today is not about war. It is about the prevention of war. It is about ensuring that no adversary ever dares, even in their wildest dreams, to test the resolve of the United States of America. The truth is that President Trump has, once again, exposed the rot at the heart of the establishment. They don't hate this decision because it's dangerous. They hate it because it's effective. They hate it because it reasserts American sovereignty and rejects the globalist fantasy of a borderless, powerless world. They hate it because it was Donald J. Trump who made it, and they cannot stand to see him succeed. The domestic resistance in Washington is more afraid of American strength than they are of Chinese or Russian ambitions. They would prefer a weak America they can control over a strong America they cannot. Their contempt for the president is, in fact, contempt for you, the American people. What we are witnessing is the difference between leadership and bureaucratic management. For 33 years we have had managers, men who administered the decline, men who were more afraid of offending an ally in Paris than being overtaken by an adversary in Beijing. They told us that deterrence could be maintained with computer simulations and good intentions. President Trump knows that the only deterrence that works is deterrence that is seen, heard, and undeniably real. The command to begin immediately is a bolt of clarity in a city drowning in the fog of ambiguity and process. The nation has made its choice. The era of complacency is over. The battle for freedom and national survival has entered a new, far more serious phase. Now, the future of the nation is being forged. The system may try to resist. The bureaucrats like Kimball will try to delay. The lying media will try to scare the people. But the order has been given. The die is cast. America is at a turning point, and the entire world is watching. What President Trump did today was take the geopolitical chessboard, which was being rigged against us, and flip it upside down. He reminded the world who we are. We are not just another nation on a council of nations. We are the United States of America, and under this president, we are back. History will charge a heavy price to those who tried to manipulate the destiny of this great nation.